Piero di avere, Piero momoye. Ah, Piero we. Ndato Piero sopra no skeide. Ato Piero di avere, akosia o. Moye, Piero momoye. Mosa bosa iko momoye. Piero di mowere, mangoye mo. Ah, Piero di mowere, mangoye mo. Hey, Piero we, bebe. Ah, di avere, Piero momoye. Moye. Piero moye. Piero moye. Piero di avere ba. La poje yo di avere. So no dunia emble. Mo bli amado let's apple. Jamo ne ki bayone, ne. Mo wa ja ki bayone, ne. Ja plebo ne na kanyoko. Sia bu tiena, de kanywe. Kanyon de koge on se fait du player. Piero moye, Piero moye, Piero moye. Ogerwa oyawesa, moye, tibla o piyon boba, derbono. Ma moye bleye Piero we. Piero moye. Mon blé condition. Topie mon blé condition. Ase o kano. Ya o akelo mu o lokoje. Piero moye. Piero moye. Piero moye. Eriko na Piero moye. Piero moye. Ah, Shaliko na Piero moye. Ah, to Piero moye. Die nyapa nyele. To Piero die nyapa nyele. Ah, nie Piero. Ah, Piero we. Moye, Piero moye. Eriko ja to Piero Mare bomu ja to Piero Eriko de bomu ja to Piero Mi amo daka. Yo jale ko ye nyogo pa. Opa bla ye de nyani ye ble gba kije. Dia o anade bro aja be atia. Nyoro gba de ke abudi ye. Ono homono ne ka double ye. So ba somo soble so danyo. Paseble asenyo da ye ta esa ye dibo sanele. E to Piero jawe ke. To Piero point so weke. To Piero iwa mo pa. Kaya no e ka sene la ta ya mo la osiane. To Piero ki agba ile papa ko. Kia o a to Piero moye. Ah, nu agba mo e. Dibe ko agba mo e. Nu agba mo e. Piero we. Ah, Piero nu agba mo e. Piero we. Ah, Piero moye. Piero moye. Gayo padà we, nembo kango. Ah, tideji. Ah, tideji we. Ah, mada tidie me o. Awo. Gupa kari to kuni to wake. Asa o made. Piero moye. Piero moye. Ese soli abutie. Ase o. Angela Wayne, Nama Bobo Pablo, Angela Wayne, Angela Joe, Majapake, you Daria Joe. Moye, Angelo, Moye. Oh, Mamma Bokebra, yeah, Mamma Jembrode, where you ah, Jose Majeki, Jose, Mama Jose, Dania Joe, Handa Nicola, Mabotia, Manda Nicola, Dania. Nicola Brecogamo, ojú àjíé, náà ìbòdè wẹ̀yẹ. Gbàgbọ́ ẹ̀yàn ńlá ṣìírí àyà àjàrò. Mọ̀nyé, Piero mọ̀nyé. Piero mọ̀nyé, àlè, mọ̀nyé.
Báwo bí ẹ̀? Ló dá ló wá wà. depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon Dieu, le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon Dieu,
Good evening, folks. Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. I want to thank all of you again for tuning in to LIBERIA Public Radio. We say thank you. We're way late, and so we're not going to be here that long tonight. There are a few things that I want to talk about here, and then we're going to excuse ourselves very quickly. Thank you, folks. Thank you very much. Hopefully, our audio will be wonderful tonight. So let's see. And so, again, let's do the best we can here as I try to find these things that I'm looking for here. Okay, you know I'm late, so so just bear with us here as we try to do the best here tonight. Okay, okay, yeah, there it is. All right, thank you. Welcome. First of all, even though we're late, but we have to follow the procedure here on LPR. It's Friday afternoon, so even though we're late, we can stay as long as you want us to stay. However, we can. We know that you guys have places and things to do. We're not going to keep you here long here tonight. Thank you very much. First of all, safety, folks. It's very important that we all pray and stay safe. Please, whatever you do, help yourself, help your family, and help everybody else. I got to go turn that stuff around. So, safety is very important. Safety is very important with this disease. This disease doesn't know anybody. It doesn't care who you are, president or no president. It really doesn't matter with this disease. So your best thing you can do is to listen to your local authorities. When they say the place is open to go to work, you go to work. But be mindful as you're going to work. You be mindful of what you do and how you do it. Now, if they say stay home, please do all you can to stay home as well, because you have to obey the rules. There's no question asked. Okay, I want to thank all of you again tonight. Please share this video because I'm very late. Please share this video. So let's go ahead as usual. We're going to now do what we can. As usual, the President of the Republic, as we introduce our show, even though we're late, but we still have to show who our leader is. The leader, folks, I don't have glasses, so bear with me. It's not going to be ugly. That's the President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. Weir. But I want to talk about, what I want to talk about tonight. It's a very short one, and then I'll talk about the other issues. I want to talk about something that was written by the guy I consider to be, on Front Page Africa, I consider them to be, how do you call it, two double-edged sword. I respect Front Page Africa because for a very long time, Front Page Africa has been the one most of us rely on for truthful information coming from Liberia, and we respect them. We respect their publication, and we really enjoy them. And some of us, in fact, I have done some publication, of course, on Front Page Africa as well. So I really do respect them. They never asked me for dime. When I sent my article in, they didn't ask me for dime. When I talked to the editor, he said, Mr. Toh, we don't take money. If you want to contribute, that's fine, but we don't charge people. And I respected them. However, from time to time, Front Page Africa, I call them double-edged sword. From time to time, they will come out and review whatever way they feel, they think, and they believe they're giving news, they're giving information. So it might hurt you, but that's the information they're giving. And sometimes some of us enjoy it. If it's not hurting us, then we say Front Page Africa is so good. Oh, this is the best. But when they say something that we don't like, oh, Front Page Africa, that yellow journalism, man, these people, they're not good. But for me, I've always respect them, and I will continue to do so. Even if I don't agree with them, I will state my disagreement, but with respect, with the honor that they have done. I mean, they have done a tremendous job for us, the Liberian diaspora. So whatever it is, whether they go to Total and write nasty thing about my father or what have you, I will disagree, but I will do so with respect. I'm not going to call them name because these people are all professionals. So I'm not going to degrade their work. I'm not going to degrade what they've done. I'm going to respectfully disagree with them, and I will point out my point that I have. And tonight is one of those. So quite recently, Front Page Africa carried out an article, and the title of that is called Toba's Vision, Liberia's Failure. And at the very when will we get it right? And at the very beginning, okay, they decided, first of all, to characterize those who have Toba assassinated. They didn't use the word assassination, but not only that, this is how they describe it. 40 years ago, it said, when the gain of grief-stricken, uneducated soldier, Now, what I'm going to point out here tonight is one of those grief-stricken, according to them, uneducated soldier, having to be my late brother. So he wasn't greedy, he wasn't grief-stricken, okay? He was just doing what he believed was in the interest of Liberia. And I'll point that out here again tonight. So for Front Page Africa to come and say that, that's okay. That's okay. Those of us that like some Front Page Africa and read their article, we will read these things and we will point it out the disagreement. Okay? So Front Page Africa, you have the right to write whatever it is that you're writing. That's okay. That's okay. But we going to vehemently disagree with you respectfully. So in this case, I truly disagree with the characteristic of these young people here tonight. These young soldiers, they are not greedy, they are not grief-stricken, they were uneducated. Because my brother was just, 6th grade student? So yes, they were uneducated. How old was he? About 16, 17 years old? Yes, they were uneducated. I agree with you. But the intent was a popular uprising. The intent was completely accepted. And Liberians all over Liberia were jubilating at the time. So for you now to come back, I'm not too sure from which perspective Front Page is calling them grief-stricken, whether they have even had interview with any of those people. How can they describe these people of being grief-stricken? And this is the other thing they went by this, okay? They said grief-stricken, uneducated soldier murder. That wasn't murder, according to them. That was assassination, okay? Well, you call it whatever you want to call it. But let's go ahead, folks. So I'm not disagreeing with front-page Africa only because to defend my brother. I don't defend the idea or whatever action they took that brought about the death of many Liberians, our brothers and sisters. But the idea itself, if you subtract the killing, the idea itself to overthrow the sitting government, I mean, that idea itself is a wonderful, wonderful idea. I will not take back seat to nobody on that, because I was in Liberia. And I was able to see, okay? So I'm not going to take a back seat to anybody on it, okay? Now, from Fair Africa, okay, why they say that, that's okay. That's okay. I'm not going to quibble with their description. That's up to them. But once they, as long as I can read and write, I will do my best to enlighten the readership themselves, to enlighten people who must have read this article. And some of these young people that read this article, most of them were not even born at that time. Okay? Now, they went on to say how they murdered and killed the president and kill other people and what. Well, that's fine. That's fine. But the main point they were trying to make here is that Turbo was such a brilliant person that perhaps if he had not been assassinated, his idea would have transformed Liberia to another level. That is the intent of this article, which I, from my own reading and from my own experience, someone who was very young at the time but much more involved into Liberian politics, Monrovia as well. I wasn't one of those, I wasn't given a platform to speak at that time, but I follow a lot and I experienced a lot. I was 1979, the Rest Riot. I was there from the beginning, the onset. The meeting that was held that Saturday morning, right opposite the graveyard, behind PUA, the power office right there. I was there when who I believe to be, if my memory serves me right, Deacon Carlos standing on the table with a bullhorn explaining to the father to make sure that there's no violence. So I was there. Okay, so I have my own take on this. Let's go on, folks. Samson to Liberian Public Radio. Before I go on, and once again, it's not like I'm defending my brother. Far from it. In fact, I would let you know this evening the conversation that I have with my brother from the beginning. I don't like to talk about it. I don't talk about it. In fact, just before I came on air, his son just called me and I told him I would call him right after my show. Okay? I don't like to talk about it because all of his kids, they are here in the United States. They don't even know, they don't even come to my house to eat. They have their own family, have kids, all grown. They're doing well. So I don't need to talk about these things. But when you come and make this kind of statement, that these people were greed-stricken, they were uneducated, but they didn't do it because of greed. Far from it. Because I know my brother's involvement was not because of greed. We were in Liberia. Let me give you a little background. He was in the army. I was working at the Ministry of Education as a cadet, making $100 a month. He was making $125 a month. He was able to save money, to save enough money. I was working with this Liberty man before I went to work with the Ministry of Education. I was working with this Liberty man, and he was able to save enough money. But because I wanted to go to EJ Raw, I told him I want some money. He said, "What do you want the money for?" I said, "I want to buy books." So we went to the Liberty man. He went, and Liberty man gave him $50. He gave me the $50. So you know those days, my rent at that time was $35. Beautiful place. He has 2 bags of rice in the house. He brought some kids from Monrovia, from Totown to live with him. So it wasn't like he was hungry. There was food. When they got the promotion back in 1978, I believe it was 77 or something like that, they got promotion. Most of the army people got promotion, and they rescinded the promotion. They said, fine. It was not because of greed. I'll give you background on this as well. I grew up in Town. And in Town, I've always told you this story. Town was a chiefdom seat of Biak chiefdom. And Biak chiefdom had clan. Okay? So have different clans. These people used to bring people that were not able to pay $10 house tax, will bring them into town, put their knees on the rock. They make up pyramid rocks and make these people to kneel down to look into the sun, and they will be in that sun. Hot sun in Liberia. I'm not talking about here in Sacramento. Hot sun in Liberia. Until somebody pay the $10. It affected us a lot. I'm telling you now, some of the reason why my brother gravitated towards all kinds of ideas. It affected us a lot. My mom used to make farm, and when she finished making the farm, she would sell her bitter ball, then right into town, sell little rice and things like that. She always kept $10. $10 is always with her. And there's an understanding. We the kids, you're not, I don't care whether your grandma died, she will not give you that $10. So that $10 issue used to affect us. Because sometimes we want clothes. We want people, we want her to go to Tapeta to buy some pants, and so at that time they used to have those shoes, what they call great balance. Great balance, I don't know if you know those things. They have for click on the knee. But those click, when you wear them, you can use it to play football. You can also use it as a scuff ball. You can also use it when it's raining, you can't slip. They call it grip balance because if we believe it holds the ground. But those were the kinds of shoes people wanted. But she would not spend the $10. And how much those shoes were those days? I believe it were $2.50 a pair. But she used to save that $10. So in case somebody is yelling in the middle of town, and she will go and take that $10 and pay the tax for the person to leave from the sun. If she's on the farm, and this thing is a true story, folks, and if this thing is happening, if that person is not taking off the sun, they have the other system where they have two stakes. And this thing I'm saying is not unique to Town. This is all Liberia, in the countryside, collecting taxes for the people in Monrovia. Now Trumpish Africa are calling these young people that redeem us, calling them, you know, they are our redeemer. For them, they are the devil. That's okay. That's Liberia. We are allowed to have diverse view. So it's left with us, those of us that know these things, to bring these things up and explain it. So let's go a little bit into that. So if she's not in town, sometimes they take the piece of stick and put the person's chain, the foot, they put the foot in, and right on the chain, they tie the other end, and then they tie the other hand, and then they have the stick that they twist like this. And as they twist the stick, these two pieces of stick will start going into the man's flesh, and the person will start yelling, crying, is there anybody in town that can help me? And it came a time that my mom is well known for that. So if that thing happening, they'll send somebody on the phone quick, and she will come and give $10. So it's not because we love her to give the $10 to people to free, but the fact that the $10 was not spent on us. Years and years and years later, when my brother started getting involved into politics, that discussion came about. The last time before the coup, before he came to Monrovia, right before the coup, when he was in Town, there's another guy that used to be Parliament chief clerk. They call him Mr. Juan. Okay, that's David Juan, bigger brother. But this man and my brother got into heavy argument. People in the interior, especially those that were serving in this quasi government, whatever, you can't talk bad thing about Tubberden. Tubberden was the God. So this guy, my brother, got in an argument about Tubber and the way people were behaving when it comes to taxi. When you're traveling from Grand Jida going to Monrovia, they have a place in Nima County they call Groy. Groy those days when I was very little, when you get there, by the time you leave town to get to Groy, then it's already in the evening time. They're putting everybody down. And if you leave in your town, you don't have your tax receipt. Have tax receipt. The kinds of treatment you're going to get, you will not believe it. So my mom always used to carry her tax receipt on the end of her lap as she died to show it. So I know that. Another place in Liberia, Harrisburg, they used to have a gate there. See, but most of you don't know these things. And I bet you this man that wrote this thing, you probably don't even know these things. Harrisburg, when you get to Harrisburg, it used to be a gate in that town. But you better make sure by the time you get to Harrisburg that you got all your documents, whatever it is, everything in place. So I know these things. Well, anyway, let's go back. So Front Page Africa, I've done this. Okay? I'm not too sure what is happening with my audio in the internet. This is very interesting subject. But anyhow, let's go into this. So they're saying that Tubber was a visionary, and the grief-stricken soldier destroyed the vision of Liberia. Because of that, Liberia is facing these kinds of problems they're facing. Let's go to Tubber's own words. I'm not even going to go back. Let's go to Tubber's own word. Okay. Let's go to Tubber's own word, folks. This is what Tubber said. You're talking about grief-stricken soldier. Grief-stricken soldier. This is Tubber's third annual message delivered by Dr. William R. Tubber Jr., President of the Republic of Liberia, to the third section of the 47th legislature, January 23rd, 1974, at the E.J. Raw building. It's all here. But let's listen to what Tubber got to say about this thing here. He said, you know, when Tubber giving no annual messages and things like that, they go from ministry, every ministry and every public entity or public sector, whatever PUA and things, you put your own information together and pass it on to the president. The president will try to, do whatever you have to do, but it's going to be part of the message. So let's listen to what Tubber say here. And this is about the Ministry of Local Government, Rural Development, and Urban Reconstruction. When you start writing these things, Liberians, I'm an old man, but you have some young Liberians, sophisticated, they're not going to let you get away with these kinds of stuff. Okay, so this is what Tubber say. We shall continue to dedicate our services to the welfare of all the people, especially the less fortunate majority. Less fortunate majority. Less fortunate majority in Liberia. How does this majority of the country population become less fortunate? Well, what does he mean by that? Keep to that. Let me take you again. When y'all do these things, then we'll come by. Those of us that like to talk, we do our research, then we'll come back. Let me take you. I'll come back. I will come to this other one. Let's go. Let me go to this one here. You can't do. I'm not here to defend anybody. The loss of life is dangerous. The loss of life is very sorrowful. The loss of life is not something that any of us will condone. But that does not mean that these people were grief-stricken. Far from it. Far from it. What I'm about to read now This is from the War College of the United States of America, written back in I believe it was 1982. The guy that wrote this used to serve in the U.S. Army assigned in Liberia. So this is not a Liberian writing. This is something from the American War College here in the United States. Okay, but let me read something to here. By 1926, Firestone and several other companies were operating full-scale rubber cultivation. Okay, Firestone has introduced that. But this is what I want you to listen to. Yet, with the company doing well in Liberia now, he said, yet the American Liberian remain to themselves, living in community along the coast. They saw no reason to explore the interior where we live. But they want money from us. Natural resources that come from the interior, the people in the interior were not benefiting from it. Let me go on. Even the Constitution distinguished between citizens and aborigines who live in the interior. Listen to this. This is from War College, United States of America. In 1927, Howard University sponsored an expedition into the interior of Liberia. They found a land virtually unexplored. No road existed beyond the coastal city where the American Liberians were living. Were we not part of this, the citizenry of Liberia? And you want to tell me that Tobo has vision? Tobo was vice president for what, 20 years or so? Oh, excuse me, he was parked in a garage. Tobo was parked in a garage. But I will get to that when Tobo, when the race car, when the opportunity was given to the race car, I will read about that here. Okay. The relationship between this ruling elite, American Liberian, and you want to tell me this, even if they were hungry, you want to tell me the people that overthrew the two-way party government, they were greed-stricken? Far from it. That means you have not done your work. I respect the journalist who wrote this thing. I have no qualm. I'm sure he must have done his work, so he believed what is written here. But it's left with us, the reader, to say, no, wait a minute, your story is a little bit out of context here. That will help you to provide some context to your story, because you have done a wonderful job. Front Page Africa have always been a newspaper that inform Liberians, especially people like me, I consider myself a political junkie. So when I get to work in the morning, the first thing I do, Front Page Africa, to want to know. And they have done a masterful job of informing us over the years. And you can't go right now to go to Liberia and show a palace for Rani Shea. You can't go places. So, oh, look at that beautiful Marshall Rani Shea bill. With all this work that he and his people continue to do. They are not rich, but they continue to tell us what is happening. But from time to time, like I've always called them double-edged sword. Sometimes they will bring you information that will rub you the wrong way. It left for you to report and to come out to provide some context. But you must do so with respect, because the journalists themselves that wrote this story, they're not writing it just because they want to bring people down, but this is what they believe. However, their selection of the words to describe the situation is sometimes a little bit uncomfortable for some of us. So let's go ahead. Okay, let me read that again. The relationship between this ruling elite and the tribes was so unusual that in 1930, the League of Nations conducted an inquiry into alleged practice of slavery in Liberia. They discover labor agreement akin to slavery. my time, in order for you to go to school, especially around the Concord settlement or what have you, you got to live with somebody. And you're going to have to do some work that you will normally not do at your own parents' house at a very young age. Because if you want to learn something, you're going to have to sacrifice. In fact, they were so bad, they have a system in Liberia where you, as a houseboy or whatever they want to call it, you stay clean and then you go to afternoon school. I'm not making it up. These are true stories. People that have gone through these kinds of experiences, some of them are still alive. Okay? All right. Let me go on. One or two more, then we will go to the main thing here. So once again, these young men were not grief-stricken. I will go to what perhaps brought on the grief-stricken situation. I will go to that here, but right now I just want to provide some more context. Okay, in 1944, according to the story, a young black American-Liberian, William V. The paper come from the War College. It ain't come from Totown. The paper ain't come from Totown. From War College, United States. In 1944, a young black American-Liberian, William V.S. Tubman, became the 18th president of Liberia. Tubman was the first president to truly recognize the indigenous population as citizens. Are you kidding me? Before Tubman, my grandfather was Parliament chief before that time anyway. But there were people from our area that used to carry low for the Congo people as they traveled the interior. They forced people collect taxes, collect rice. And only at that time they recognized the indigenous. They met us there. The love of liberty brought us there? No. The love of liberty met me there, my brother. The love of liberty brought you there, but the love of liberty met me there. But I was not recognized as citizen of Liberia until what? Back in 1944, according to the story. He introduced sweeping reform, including the right to vote for the Aborigine. Okay? However, they said, he was never able to completely assimilate the tribe into the society. Into their society. When you are Yabaro, Otto, or Yamanuwu, forget it. Forget it. You're going nowhere. You're going nowhere. Your education might even be a little bit difficult to get that little high school. For you, it was going to be difficult if you are some kind of and you're not John C. Thomas. Folks, I'm not saying these things here tonight to talk about the Congo country divide. We no longer have that. I don't believe we have that. I'm speaking strictly from history perspective. Okay? So let's go on. So, however, he was not able to assimilate the tribes into the society. Listen to this. Power within the government was still controlled by the American Liberian, and only political party that the only political party that existed was the Two-Way Party, founded in 1883. And you call these boys, young people, young men, you call them grief-stricken? Far from it, my brother. Far from it. Let's go on. Let's go on. From War College, I don't even touch the other one here. From War College. After 26 years in office, everyone was sure that President Tubman would step down in 1971. But he allowed his name to be nominated for another term. William R. Tubman, the vice president for the last 20 years, will remain on the ticket as his running mate. Unfortunately, they said, Tubman's health have already begun to deteriorate. In the same year, of course, as his election on President, the seventh term on July 23rd, 1971. At the age of 75, William V.S. Tubman died. Africa's oldest republic reached a new watershed in 850 years. Okay. I mean, we're finished with Tubman. Did you hear any kinds of native involvement, my brother? These grease-stricken soldiers, uneducated, I agree, but they're grease-stricken, as you call them. Most of them are from my area. And in Grand Gila County, we don't do greedy business. In Grand Gila County, you work. You work for yourself. In Grand Gila County, you have to work. In fact, if you were to look up to the 1980, if you were to look in the army, if you were to look in the Liberian National Band in the army, most of them were from the Crown tribe. Most of them were from Lofa area, hard-working people, respectful, with all of those things. The way they used to kick them around. I lived in the barracks. I saw what was happening in the barracks. I saw that. But they were still respectful. But let's go on. And do you call them grease-stricken? Okay. With the death of William V.S. Tubman, an era in the history of Liberia came to an end. Tubman had prepared for his death and struck the card in favor of his ancestry, a miracle Liberian. Do you know there used to be a saying? In fact, immediately after the coup, one of the reasons why I asked my brother to take me to the executive manager, because I wanted to see, because they said there was something that was written behind the chair where the president said, he said, don't forget the partner's children. And I thought I was, but they won't let me come in anyway, so they kicked me out. I was scared too. Anyhow, but anyway, that's the different subject matter. So, his successor, William R. Tubman, at age of 62, had been groomed for 20 years in his role as vice president. The son of a former slave who immigrated from the United States in 1879. He ain't come from here. The love of liberty brought him there. The love of liberty met me there. Tubman was the ideal candidate to become the 19th president of the Republic of Liberia. Okay, in the United States, here we go now. Here comes the grease-stricken people who overthrew this government. Let's listen to what happened. In the United States, a young Liberian student was completing his education. Gabriel B. Matthew was already taking off in national politics. Okay, let's go on. That's now. Okay. It's the last one I want to read about Tubman here. And okay. This is the last one I want to read about Tubman, then I will go into that. Tubman was going to retire, according to the story, at the end of his term in 1983. In preparation for the retirement, this is from the War College. Grease-stricken. Now let's see who's greedy now. Let's see who's the greedy person between Tubman and these soldiers. Let's see who's greedy now. Let's read this. In preparation for retirement, he started construction of a newsroom in Bental, a suburb of Monrovia. He made several trips to Europe. Now this is from War College here in the United States. He made several trips to Europe, placing money in Swiss bank account. Who's greedy? Was he putting that money in the name of Liberia? Why y'all want to do this thing here for us to rehash all of these things? Okay. People begin to talk about excessive expenditure, and some ask where Tubman was getting all his money. His son, A.B. Tubman, added to the gossip, spending wildly sum of money and throwing wild parties. I got plenty more. Where they want come from? Plenty more. Y'all bring it on again next time. And we'll deal with it one by one. We'll deal with it. We will disagree, but do it with respect. We're not going to insult you. We will continue to defend what these people did, not necessarily defending the killing. That's two separate things. I have the ability to separate, and I'm going to continue to do that. I feel bad for those that were killed, because these were Liberians. These were Liberian brothers. Unlike they thinking of us as like foreigners, we consider them as our brothers and as Liberians. Let's look at this. You want to call them grief-stricken? Listen to this. On March 10, 1980, George Bulley, he's in Liberia right now, he's serving as representative. George Bulley was arrested on the street in Monrovia. Bulley, in his early 30s, was one of Liberia's promising young men, an outsider, because he's from Grand Jida County. An outsider, because he was from Grand Jida County, who has become a provisional member of the ruling establishment. The establishment consists almost entirely, American-Liberian. The descendant of free American slaves who settled the country early in the 19th century. Bulley, however, was one of the country people, those who did not have roots in America. He had managed to get to the United States for an education and won a PhD from the University of Akron. I saw that paper there myself, because I wanted to, when I went to Akron, I was looking for it. I saw a knee on that book. So don't tell me. With his American wife, he returned to Liberia and soon became an assistant minister. I saw him myself. The very first time Bulley came, he was assigned with Dr. Bertha Baker Exanko, my mother, the woman who helped me so much. Okay. Assistant Minister of Education in the government of President William R. Tubber. But Tubber agent kept an eye on Bulley. He's an outsider. You be careful with him, man. He's an outsider. Bulley, Dr. Bulley. And found that even as he was working for the government, he was associating with its opponents, members of the Progressive Party. Joseph Charleston, excuse me, the Minister of Justice charged Bulley now with treason and sedition and locked him up, along with some 20 other suspicious characters in the post-stack at the Bakri Training Center, a military base on the Atlantic Ocean downtown Monroe. For months, Bulley did not see his family. He was given 25. Not only did they put them in jail. Now I'm getting ready to tell you now why you think these grease-speaking people got involved. I will tell you guys this here tonight. You say, when you do these things, then you'll bring. I'm just like Dr. Famler, HB Famler. Usually you don't say much, but when somebody write about him, when he ready to leak, when he ready to tell you the story, you will not believe it. Okay? So Bulley and Bacchus Mafia and the rest of the people, they used to whoop them. And one of my brothers, he's in Farco right now. He used to cry. He was in the army. He used to cry. Grown men. And he was not alone. When they bring these people outside to whoop them, some of the army people used to cry. And you call them grease-stricken? Far from it, my brother. Far from it. They saw their parents paying taxes in the interior, and nothing benefit was coming from them. The entire BI chiefdom, no high school, elementary school. And what I'm saying here is not unique to BI chiefdom or Grand Jida County. In order for you to go to high school, you have to travel to Zwadru. And if you don't have parents, if you don't have relatives working in Zwadru, when you go and you carry a little bag of a little rice in a sack, you take it with you, and you eat little bit. Because when the rice finish, you're not coming back home because you got school. Why? There are children in Monrovia. All they do is get in a car in the morning and go to see them here. Get in a car in the morning and go to Katira. Folks, this is something that if you're going to write, you must do some little bit due diligence. Why? Why with of 16, 17-year-old young kid that have nothing, only 6th grade education will be part of this program? You don't ask questions. You're writing because you know how to write. That's good. We respect that because we enjoy Front Page Africa and we love to hear from Front Page Africa. For me, Front Page Africa, I've always said this, Front Page Africa is a double-edged sword. But I love them because they continue to provide legitimate, adequate papers that we enjoy reading. But from time to time, they will write things that perhaps some of us have little knowledge of, and then we say, okay, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Let us now help you to provide the context. And from that perspective, I am providing context here tonight. I'm disagreeing with them, but I will do so with respect. Okay, let's go on. So Dr. Bole, who is a crime man, was being flogged 25 lashes for what? Joseph Sessions jailed them, Minister of Justice, for sedition and lock them up, they said. And they used to be flogged 25 lashes every morning. Okay? He had no bath the entire time, and he slept on the bare cement floor. And then you wonder why Dr. Bole, during the time when they got up, why they were so hateful. Are you kidding me? You go sleep on that place there and tell me if that will not change you. Okay? He lost 50 pounds and become very weak. Then came the rumor that on April 14, the first anniversary of the national riot to protest in the increase of the right had come, and the other political prisoner will be executed. You hear that? On April 14. The top of the visionary that you're talking about had Liberians scheduled, like young Liberians, scheduled to be executed on April 14 because of sedition. They were about to kill them. This is, it's not, go and research, it was not written in total. That means who wrote it here. Okay, I'm reading it. So, okay, Tobo was serving his term as chairman of the African, okay, blah, blah, but anyway, let me end it there. All right? Okay. On April 12, 2 days before his scheduled execution, Jesus Christ, and you call these young people grace. They are our hero, my brother. For you, they are grace-stricken, uneducated soldier. But for us, they are our heroes. Yeah, we might, yeah, after that things went downhill, we mess up. But the ideas of bringing true freedom, one of these days, that true freedom will come. The true freedom these young men fought for and died for, that true freedom will come. You're not going to stop it again. You can't bring back two-way party. No way. You can't bring back one-party system in Liberia. It ain't happening anymore. What part of it you don't understand? No more. Yeah, right now we say CDC doing this and CDC doing that, and CDC in 6 years, in less than 4 or 5 years, we're going to go back to election, and we're going to select people that we want them to lead us. You're not going to go back and bring two-way party back up. You can call them grease-stricken, whatever name you want to call them. You're not going to bring back one-party system in Liberia. They did away with that because of their effort. Liberia no longer is being governed by one-party system. And you think they're greedy? Yeah, okay. That's okay. That's okay. Say whatever you want. Say whatever you want. Say whatever you want. We will get there. The idea we're no longer going to be suppressed by the particular minority group. You heard what Thomas said? We shall continue to that. I said Tower. I said total no. I said Tower. The man who you say have vision. The man who you praise that have the vision. Let's go ahead and read that again. We shall continue to dedicate our services to the welfare of all the people, especially the less fortunate majority. But you think Tower was the highly educated. For him to take this word, this majority, unfortunate majority, less fortunate majority. You think Tomo was stupid? And he said he had vision. Fine. You know what I'm going to do? I will read this. There's a trial here that people don't know. Dr. Formula Senior trial. And that will open your eyes. Your young people, you just go and do little research, blah, blah, blah. You don't even go deep into it. You want to write article. And just write the way you want it. You know how we got here? You know how we got here? We got here because of people paying taxes that they were not benefiting them. Iron ore coming from Nima County when Nima children were suffering. Rubber coming from Firestone when Mount Gibby and the rest of the people, Grand Bassa County people, what the rubber was they were not enjoying. In order for people from Nima County to get scholarship, some of them, their children got to give cow or goat. Just to go to LU in Liberia. You know how much suffering these people used to go to? Wasn't Tape, the man who was now your senior minister, used to be a professor at GW Gacy, accounting professor. But when Wesley Tape comes in at night, I was going to night school, by the way. When Wesley Tape comes in, Professor Tape comes in at night. He's not talking about the economy. He's telling us what was happening in Liberia in terms of Liberian politics and how these people were robbing us. And then you think, say, we don't know? Please. Okay. On April 12, 1980, 2 days before his scheduled execution, George Boles was released from prison. A group of young army enlisted men, hungry, angry, illiterate soldiers, had killed the president, announced over Liberian radio that they were in charge of the country, and then unlocked the gate of the postake to free their brothers. The jailing of Bacchus Matthew and the rest of the people was one reason why my brother was involved. And let me tell you now today again, I hate to do this, but his kids are all grown. They're no longer, what are you going to do to them? What are you going to say to them? You don't even know them. They're grown. They're all grown. In fact, I'm the one in Cleveland got plenty of children. I don't want to name it. But I refuse to be grandparent because I said they must say about the same age anyway. The one right next to me here, about 2 or 3 miles away from me, he got plenty of children. Out of college, doing well. The one right next down here, when I tell you what you doing right now, you won't even believe it. He got children out of college working. I've not even seen, because when they come to my house, hey, come here, I'm going to stay at home, Kesalio. So they don't even come to my house. I hold their father. They don't come to me to eat. They feed themselves. So I'm not worried anymore. I'm not concerned much about his life. But this is what he told me. I'm going to say it. So one afternoon, at that time I was considered E.J. Raw King. Okay, and so he came in one afternoon. He was on his way to school, because he was attending night school as well. So he stopped by to the house, because at that time I was already going to Wilson High School on Benson and Center Street, right down the left hand side. We were the best too. We played football. We played Charlotte Tower. They whooped us. We played Westhouston. They killed us. But we were the best anyway. So anyhow, on a serious note, so one afternoon he came in and decided to tell me exactly what it is they were going to do. That was about a week before the coup. He explained to me what happened, why he wants to do that. So the first thing he said to me when he told me that they were going to be involved in the overthrow of the government. So I asked him, I said, have you had that conversation with your father? He said, no. I said, okay, why don't you hold on to your thought? Let me send somebody to Tota and bring your father. He said, oh, I'm just joking. He left. 2 days later, he came back and said, I just want you to know, I'm serious. But sure, in case it turned out to be bad and I get killed, I want you to take care of my kids. And please tell my father and my mother I didn't do it because of being stupid or being greedy, but I'm sacrificing for the better Liberia. Then he came to me. At that time, if you can remember, those of you that are a little bit educated, at that time, you will remember. At that time, there was an issue in Congo, Zaire. There was a rebel that was supposed to be thinking about overthrowing Mobutu. So those rebels were attacked by the French soldier. And it was on Time magazine with their body all in the street. So he brought the magazine to me. He said, you see the people laying down here? If you see me in the street, when that time comes, you see my body in the street. When the people ask you, say, I don't know him. Because I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing a true story, folks. This is the young man, my little brother, just because I consider myself Congo man. I don't want to be battled with country people, so I don't go to the barrel much after that. He said, but here he is. He started telling me a story about South Africa. He started telling me a story about South Africa and how Nelson Mandela was sacrificing for the better of South Africa. He started telling me about Namibia. He started telling me about Mugabe over there and Joshua in Nkrumah. This young man that I taught didn't have no clue on what Liberia was about. He started telling me on these foreign people getting involved. First he started with Jomo Kenyatta, how Kenyatta and Mau Mau people were fighting for liberation. He said the only bad thing here, he told me, that these are brothers that we know. But the way we've been treated, he said, have you heard that in few weeks or few days, those people they have in jail, they're going to kill them. And we will not allow them to be killed. And so when you start hearing fighting, I will send my kids and the rest of the family member here. So when you start hearing them fight, when you start hearing the gun, you better leave. Take them and go back to Town. I'm just telling you. He took me right outside. I'm just telling you. So of course, I saw someone who loved party and things. He was wasting my time. I got to put on my platform shoe. It's time to go to EJ Raw. Or my bed banner with me. He can't tell me, I think I got time for the kind of thing. A week later, I came home that afternoon. When I opened my door, one room apartment, when I opened it, the place was packed. I said, what's going on? He said, oh, the other young man, George Sharp, called him Miller, he's dead now too. He said, oh, Nels said we should come here because what he told you, they're gone. I said, what? My people, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? Then it started running my mind. Go and find security agent and tell these people, let them arrest them. Then that way, they will save them. I was about to do it. There's a lady right now. I'm hoping that she's watching me. She's in New Jersey. Her mother in the same house. So I started going up and down, going up and down, going up and down. I didn't know what, I was confused. So she called me. She grabbed me by my shirt, pulled me in her room. She said, Samson, are you not a man? Cruel woman, are you not a man? Why are you behaving like this? Your brother came here and told you everything. So what are you worrying about? Even if he dies, so big deal. She calmed me down. That night, there was no sleep. So here is what happened. The one right now, who some more years old now, have his own family. At that time, he was 6 months old. So there's a story back home. If a warrior goes to war and he has a child, the village, they watch that child. As long the child as long the child is not crying, they believe that warrior will be safe. So I put the young man on the floor. I told the mom, I don't care what happened. You're not feeding the baby, no breastfeeding. I wash the baby. So I put the young baby, 6 months old, I put him on the floor. Of course, I put some blanket down and I was watching him. I watched him all night. He didn't cry a bit. That gave me a little comfort. Around about 5:30 in the morning, we had a whistle, he and I, because we're growing up in Toll Town, we'll go trapping or anything, we have a whistle to know where we are. So he blew that whistle, and I knew instantly that he was coming. When my brother came in, he had over 17 side pistol, all yanking all over him. His clothes, his uniform was all wet. So I said, what happened? He said, I'm not telling you anything. I just want you to keep these guns and I'll be back. So I said, you're not moving. You're not going back out. I got you now. You're not going back out. He said, excuse me. Folks, there's another brother over in Minnesota right now. You go and ask, I'm not going to call their name, but they know. You go and ask him that. He will tell you. My brother's eyes were like a fire. So I said, you're not moving. He said, watch. I said, no. So he and I started tossing the door. He took his M16, went clack, clack. The same lady, the same crew lady that came to me that time. She said, Samson, the man you're holding there is not your brother. Let him go. He's not your brother. Your brother will come back later. I let him out. I didn't see him again until about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon time. They were not in it for greed. They were not in it for greed. These brothers, they were there to liberate us, and liberate us they did. There's no way that we're going to go back to a two-way party, one-party system. I don't care if we go to war again, which I don't think will happen. We can fight 200 wars in Liberia. Nobody, not one individual will entirely rule the country and say, I say this and say that. You see how much problem George we are having right now? You see how much problem? People criticize. Some of us criticize, but we do it with respect. Because there are people who have already sacrificed for us to be in this position. But because of issues that these young people themselves, they were not educated. So how do you govern? That was an issue. That was an issue. And we're still trying to wrestle over the ideas. We haven't come to that conclusion yet. To say if we're going to lead, this is how we're going to lead. Define leadership in our culture value. Define leadership to say this is where we want to go. Some of us want to go back to the original way of our people back in the whatever age, the way they used to govern. Some of us want to govern based on the Western style. Those two value systems are the one that fighting among us. But we're not going back to two-way party, one-party system. You know who I am. You know who I am. Did you hear Representative Gray the other day? If your name is not Karuba, they don't want you. It ain't happening, my brother. So I just want to lay this out for us. These brothers, they were not greed-stricken. Far from it. Far from it. They knew exactly what they were getting into. A week later, we have a conversation. And my brother told me, none of us will survive this. A week after the coup, none of us will survive this. Especially after the killing a few American Liberians. He knew. They all knew. None of us will survive it. But we sacrifice for the next generation and the generation to come. Liberia is not turning back. You can call them greed-stricken or educated soldiers. We're not going back to days of trouble. You can bring the trouble visionary issue up here. That's fine. But we're not going back. Liberia is marching forward. So please, I respect you, Front Page Africa. Yusu, I respect you. You're a good writer. But I'm just trying to provide some context for you here this afternoon. Folks, Samson told LeBron Pobredo, and look at my other brother watching right now. You probably pissed with me right now. After the show, you're coming, what are you talking all that kind of thing for? What it got to do with your show? I know a lot of family members are going to be calling, but I'm just doing this so that people will know. Because if you go on Front Page Africa, and most of the young people that are in power, highly educated Liberians, most of them were not even born at the time. So if you go on Front Page Africa, and the first opening 40 years ago, when the gang of greed-stricken, uneducated soldier murder a 66-year-old senior citizen at the Liberian Executive Mansion, they simultaneously killed vision intended to put Africa or the Republic on path with many self-sustaining nation. Please, from mat to mattress, for 20 years, Tobo was the vice president. Oh, I forgot. He was parked in the garage. They were getting ready to kill young Liberians, execute them. And you want to tell me he's a visionary? Tobo was highly educated. There's no question asked. If you say that Tobo was trying to open up, we will agree. But Tobo alone could not have convinced the two-way party and the American Liberian that we, the indigenous, needed some piece of the action. He wasn't going to do that all by himself. And let me give you another story. Back in 1970, I believe it was 77, I was already on Camp Johnson Road. 78, I was on Camp Johnson Road. There was a meeting that was held at a two-way party. And that affected, that particular thing, I'm not too sure about the year now, but I believe it was 77, 78. Okay? So Tobo and the two-way party had a process where they were going to elect representatives at the two-way party. So one of the representatives used to be someone who was also promoted because of his action during the Tottenham Coleman issues. And he was asked to be the representative. And at that time, Tobo and his people felt that he was too old. So they decided to pick another representative. They also decided to give Abba White an opportunity to serve representing Grand Gideon. And Grand Gideon was not too happy that Abba White was not a Grand Gideon. But the question was, how long did Abba White, he called on Mose P. Harris. He said, how long Abba White been around you guys? He said, oh, for a very long time. Okay, he's citizen of Grand Gideon. Where is he from? Wabo district. Okay, that's it. That's how people, if you're close, that's how you get power in Liberia. Few people will say you are, then you are. If they block you, it's unbelievable. I'll give you another example. At that time, I was working with Ministry of Education. They used to have another Congo man they called Dunkins. Oliver Duncan used to be Minister of Administration, Deputy Minister of Administration. You know when he got fired? Midnight. Because he disagreed with Tower. And they had him fired midnight. Oliver Duncan. Is that what you think we're going to go back to again? Ain't happening. When they decided to promote Dr. Trobobahe, who was from Grand Gita County, Grangidians in Monrovia, the older folks decided to congratulate Tobo for picking a Grangidian to be part of his cabinet. And the young Grangidian said that's nonsense. The man is a Liberian, he's educated, he's qualified. We're not going to go and give a parade and start telling somebody thank you to promote Liberian. But of course, the old folks went ahead anyhow and congratulated Tobo for making Dr. Trobobahe and giving him position in his government. We're no longer going back to it. We had a war. The war, you can say, well, we mess up. That's fine. You don't expect people who have not had any kind of elected position before in their life, never went to any kind of leadership training or anything, and you think things are just going to go smooth. It was easy. It was a miracle Liberian that was able to penetrate and decided to wreak havoc. That's okay. One thing for sure, when you ain't going back, whether I die tomorrow or not, we're not going. Liberia will no longer be ruled by one party system. Not in my lifetime, not next generation. No more. You can be whatever need you have. If you have the means to run a campaign in Liberia, the opportunity is there now. Because few young Liberians decided to sacrifice their lives for the benefit of the minority, fortunate minority. Let me read that again, and I will excuse myself on that. I just love these people when they do these kinds of stuff. Okay, let me read that again. Where it's okay. Toward now. We shall continue to dedicate our services to the welfare of all the people, especially the less fortunate majority. We're no longer going to have fortunate majority in Liberia. Dr. Weah is from Gibraltar. Dr. Weah can speak Kru. He's not fortunate minority. We will get there. I'm here from Town, engineer. From Town, born in a village. I wasn't even born in Monrovia. Engineer, working with the state of California, designing road. Right before I came on today, this I'm going to boast. You think we don't know things? I work. So they have a project. Based on my experience, I have 2 other projects that I have. They were calling me. Literally begging, because this project have to be delivered. San Cinto, Blaku from Totan have to deliver. So they called me, and I said, okay, you want me to do that? That's fine. That's my job. And the person who was asking for me, they have other engineers, but that person don't want this project to be with other engineers. Want me to do that. I said, okay. It won't take me long. From Town. And I'm not alone. There are many Liberians from the interior, smarter than me. When we were in Monrovia, this is the way I see education business in Liberia. The Val tribe, you can't fool around with them with education business. The people from Lofa County, You can't fool around with. They're too smart. Okay? Then we have people from the local country. They never counting. Oh yeah, they never bought no book. Oh man, they never bought that. They know the book. My people, we're not going by. We're not going by. Now, Crown people said now too they know book now. The crew people said they know book now. The Basa people know plenty. Basa man, what you used to say about Basa people before? Chico Franklin. The people they know the book now. They know the book. You ever there again? Man, I beg you, man. They are coming to write the kind of thing you put people all the way by. What wrong with yourself? Shit, my man. You're just making out to talk plenty, man. So thank you for your article. We're not going back. On a very serious note, Liberia will no longer be ruled by one-party system since 1883. Are you kidding me? So we know anything. We just there. We just pay taxes, and your children then you enjoy. And you're wondering why? Okay? Whoever it is, call me back when I open the line, please. So we're not going back. We're not going back. So I want to thank you, Front Page Africa. Please keep up the work. You guys continue to do wonderful, wonderful writing. Wonderful writing. Once again, all I'm trying to do here tonight is to provide context that these people were not grief-stricken. No. They were not doing this here before because of money. Okay? They were not doing this here because of money. They were not doing it because of money. They did this to have Liberians. They sacrificed their life. Some 16-year-old boy. 16. Here's the interesting thing. When he joined the army, of course he took my age in order to be accepted. So when he joined the army, he went to Todi for training. While they were in Todi, true story, they were asked to go to Bentar to help clean Turbo House area. So while they were doing it, he was in uniform. And then one person told me that 3-4 other people that I've talked to told me this. Turbo went to him. He said, why are you here? What are you doing in the army? So he turned to the lieutenant that was guiding. He said, why is this young man who's supposed to be in elementary school in the army? So they said, so that's what the people gave us. And he's doing well. And Turbo left it. But Turbo was not happy that this young man would be in the army. They didn't know that their paths were going to be crossed later in his story. So I'm not here to defend the killing, to defend the destruction, but the idea. Revolution. Revolution. If a revolution comes, if you're part of that revolution, you should expect it. This is what he told me. I'm doing this, sacrificing for you and the rest of the Liberian people. And I think they did a wonderful job. We will get there. The paths have already been widening. We will get there. We're struggling. That's okay. We slug, here and there. We go downtown Wallace, we throw a little witty here and there. And then we have people, smart young people like Costa, saying, okay, this is what you want, let's go ahead. No violence. No violence, but people like Costa will come out and challenge the system because other people have sacrificed their lives. I was in Monrovia during the inaugural program. This is how much this thing affected me. I had tears running down my face when Dr. Weir took the podium and saw the change model, whatever it was they were doing, changing from Madam Salive to Dr. Weir. No guns. Because Liberians went to the poll. And I was there to witness the change of God with no gun. Oh, how happy I felt that day. I felt my brother's sacrifice has paid off a lot. I got nothing anymore to sit here and weep, to sit here and worry. Far from it. Far from it. Far from it. Far from it. This is what he wanted. This is what they said they were going to do. And they've done it. Even Dr. Doe. The initial stage, the idea was to liberate Liberia from the yoke of the oppressors. No question asked. Now, what happened from that point on, that's a different thing that history then will look on and say what happened. If you missed this one tonight, this Wednesday, this Friday afternoon, then you missed something. Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. I thought I'd do this here, and I encourage all of you to go on Front Page Africa, and it's called Taba's Vision, Liberia's Failure. When will we get it right? We will get it, my brother. Those who support, they already laid the foundation. The work is done. It is just us, and that's what I keep encouraging the young Liberians. And here's the thing here. I'm so encouraged. I'm so encouraged. I'm so encouraged. Have you heard some of these young Liberians having a debate? Have you heard people like George Lobo expressing the will of the people according to him? Adequately expressing. Have you heard Henry Costa laying out his vision? All young people. All young people. All young people. Have you even heard young sedition that will come out and talk to us? Even Eugene Falcon, that I don't agree with. But these are young Liberians. We will get there. We're not going to remain like that forever. We'll get there. But with one thing for sure, we're not going back. So you can call them whatever name you want to call them, that's okay. And those of us that have the history will provide the context. Folks, Samson told LIBERIA Public Radio. Let me now, I was supposed to do another one, but I don't think I can do that tonight. I'll just do it another time. This is about corruption. Now look at this. Look at this. Samson told. I'm feeling praising everybody now. I'm going to talk about corruption. Where is the corruption? Now, if Front Page Africa have attacked these young people from that perspective, then some of us will say, yes, let's. We will also provide context, of course, but it will be a little bit on the side of Front Page Africa. We will not vehemently disagree with them, respectfully disagree with them, okay? Because they themselves, these young people that said they were going to liberate us, having had issues with corruption, they were not able to truly get us out of the yoke of the corrupt behavior. It is in us. They didn't know that. They didn't recognize that. I'll give you another example here, then I'll open the line very quickly. I came to the state at a very young age, immediately after the coup. I was one of the first, anyhow, because they drove me out of there. I didn't want to come. PRC just enjoying themselves, you know, kicking me out. Everyone, you gotta go. I'm not going to name names right now. So I had to leave. But anyway, I got here. What? From Town? EJ Raw boy, come bring to America. You want me to go to school? You crazy? Why am I can't go to school for? I'm from EJ Raw. I left party. Then you want me to come pull party aside and go to school? I forget school. I was running around like nothing else. What kind of school business? American government say, hey, you, they brought you here for you to go to school. You know when they pack your go back to Liberia, man, they rolled me like that. Who told us it was they Ronald Reagan? Yeah, Ronald Reagan. People they rolled me like that, kick me, boop. Go back to Liberia. You serious? I got back to Liberia. Samson told. Someone told that man back to Liberia business. You can't go to school. You can't be running around. Who you think you are? We want people who serious. You're not serious. Go back to Liberia. Send me back. I came back, of course. But the point here is this: people have sacrificed, and they themselves were not able to remove the corrupt behavior within us. And that's the one we're going to have to face. It is our buku medicine. Because you can't blame this corruption on a specific government. Far from it. We're all going to have to deep inside and help ourselves. I can't do both shows tonight. I was going to talk about corruption, but I won't be able to do that. So let's go ahead. Let me open the line and see if anybody want to make a comment on this. Sam Sinto, Lebanon Public. Let me put a number up. This story, you better keep this here because you're not going to hear me. You're not going to hear the kind of story again from me. No more. I'm done with that story. I just brought this up because this guy, the issue here is very, very touching, to be honest with you. But anyway, let's go ahead.
Le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon Dieu, le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon Dieu, le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon Dieu, le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon Dieu, Le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mom, you wake up. Mom, you wake up. Oh, yeah, one day, I don't want to do this. Come on, I'm le salaud depuis Iowa.
Okay, folks, Mr. George, if you're listening, give me a call so I can wrap it up here. If you care to give me a call. Mr. Amos George, if you care to give me a call so I can wrap it up here, let's do so. Folks, I'm not taking backseat to nobody. You can do whatever you want to say. Call me taking side or not. From Front Page Africa wrote and said, 40 years ago, when a gang of grease-stricken, and I know the story. You want me to be quiet? Don't maybe use words on you. You think I'm going to be quiet? Please. You know the song they were singing those days? Who owns the land? Who owns the land? Are you kidding me? You call them grease-stricken? Far from it. Far from it. We made you people ask what happened after 1980. Why we still? Yeah, we're still there. But one thing we're not going to do, we're not going back to pre-1980 one-party system. Now you can't say no. Election comes around, you got 20, 30 parties want to get in, they get in. Those days you can't. If it's not two parties, it's nothing else. And you want me to be quiet, please. Family, to sit down, man. Mr. George, if you're not about ready to call, that's okay too. We can just wrap it up and we will call it quit for the night. I just thought that I provide some context here and you're going to come and tell me something. Just write all you want to write. My name. Okay. I'm not going to take second seat to nobody on this thing yet. I'm telling you. Let me read this again. These people that are on here that are writing, let me read this again. And you tell me in your own house whether you will be allowed to be treated like this. We shall continue to dedicate our services to the welfare of all the people, especially the less fortunate majority. And you want me to say what? In Liberia. Why was the majority less fortunate? Man, please, I beg you. We made a mistake. The Civil War happened. What happened after that? We're still going to struggle. I'm not saying we're done. But one thing for sure, we're not going back to one-party system. No way. So that is a guarantee. You can take it to the bank. We're not going back to one-party system. So whether they agree straightened or not, I don't care. I just gave my own context here. So thank you, folks. Mr. George, apparently you want to stay away from the topic tonight. That's understandable. So let's go ahead and wrap it up. Folks, Samson to LIBERIA Public Radio. It's been a wonderful evening. From time to time, we will take position that perhaps you're not going to be comfortable with it. Because if we get pushed to a certain level, we're going to have to reply. And that's what the platform is about. All of the time, the hour plus that I've been on here, you didn't hear me insulting anybody. No, we don't insult. All that I've been reading here, this is the pamphlet here. This is the pamphlet here. Wait till next year. There's a guy that have tons and tons of information on Liberia, the 80s, and I will bring those on because you guys need to be educated. Well, sorry for saying educated. You need to be enlightened. You need to be enlightened because most of you were not even born those days. So if you're going to write of a man to say that he has a vision, and I'm not disputing that. Okay? Of a man who will not say there's a corruption in his government. You know what he said in the final administrative part of it? He said the people that collect the taxes, their reporting system is not adequate enough to reflect the flag receipt that they issue out there. People were collecting money and they were not reporting it to the revenue collection agency in Liberia. But I don't need to do this here. So I'm just saying thank you guys. I'm just telling you guys that we don't need to. Okay, let me take. I think somebody's calling from Connecticut. Samson to LeBron Popular. What's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello.
Hello. Thank you for calling. What's on your mind, man? Hello? Yeah, I can get you now.
Okay, what I'm saying is the topic about the way it's going there. So, I just wanted to be the positive.
Can you speak? Can you help us to speak into the phone a little bit because your voice is kind of failing away, and I know you have a very.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, okay. What I said, Joe government was my government. That was when I was eligible to vote. I voted and I worked in the government. Right first when the executive marshal, I worked at the capital building. And I know the whole story. How everything happened in Liberia. Yes, the common folk really, but I wanted those children how to stay with people and then when they in school, all the kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, we went through all that. Even my uncle was raised by the farmers. They took him from the village, they brought him on over, they enslaved him when he reached in Turkey, they took him all to school and sent him back on the farm. To be interpreted for them because they were so proud to even learn the language and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So unfortunately, when Georgia took over, they became very corrupt. You see? They did a lot of stuff, the same thing. They would tell the same thing. I realized that before you call corruption, somebody fired me. I spoke up. I used to work with the chairman for NDPR, secretary at the capital building. He used to take my salary and pay his employee when he's fine. So when I talked about it, he fired me and he threatened to kill me. I left. I came to the USA before even the war happened. Right. Yeah. So these are things people are supposed to know. Many people today don't know the history. I've seen many times. Trevor was a great, how you call it? Visionary, all the kind of stuff. Yeah. That man, I mean, he lived in, I'm from both countries. He had a whole school there. He was ready for the World Bank, something like president for the World Bank. He had a school with a lot more children. They organized kids. Young girls.
We know these stories. They've been written over, but these people decided, sister, that they want to somehow, I don't know what they think, some of us are not able to read anymore. So they decide to bring these things back up again. But every time they do that, we will provide context of history that we know. Now, I'm not saying that the corruption in the Doe government or the Doe government or whatever PRC government was pure. No, far from it. Far from it. They did some stuff that I will not be proud of, and I'm not proud of. Yeah. However, the way we were treated, if you're going to call Toba, who served as a vice president for 20 years, and you're going to call him a visionary, when he came in, 1971. He was there for almost 10 years. What did we get? What exactly did we get? In the countryside, high school were only in the capital city of the county, most of the places. What do we get? People have to travel from village to the city in the capital city of the county just for high school. And if you don't have relatives over there, they're difficult to do. What do we get?
Yeah.
And then you're going to come and call these people grief-stricken soldier, which some of us have information on. And I was just providing context. But yeah, we all went through that. I'm not saying that the people, they're good or pure and whatever. That's not the point. The idea here is if you think these group of soldiers kill your vision of Liberia, because right now the article is putting the blame for which this issue Liberia is facing today, putting that on the soldier, which is not fair and is not correct. And I just took you back to thing that was written way back in 1927. At that time, none of these children were even born. None of these people were even born. Okay?
No, they don't even know what happened in 1980. They don't even know what happened in 1980. You talking about
yeah, exactly. You know, when you used to have people telling you, "Do you know who I am?" They can throw you in jail for
you know who I am?
Yeah, they can throw
And
you in
then
jail for common.
they will teach you even my name, they change the body, worry about it. They put for me a guy, later I want to live. See my name. The name they brought me with glad here. Here you wait. My father name. Wait, telling me.
When you go to live with them, they say, well, you can't go out with a country name. Then they change your name. They do that to many Liberians, you know. But the Liberian children themselves, they wanted to learn. They were anxious to learn. But these people put every roadblock on the way. Everything they can do so that people would not be educated, they did. And this is what we're talking about, and some of them here are going to be writing. So I'm just saying, even with all the corruption that was happening though, and the PRC time, whatever, one thing for sure, we're not going to have one-party system in Liberia anymore. That's the end.
No, it won't happen.
Exactly. So thank you, sister. I appreciate it. I mean, like I said, I'm providing some context with respect. I'm disagreeing with them with respect. I'm not going to insult or get angry and say some stuff that I'm not supposed to say.
It was too much. It was too much. It was too much, and people got insane. You know.
Yeah, they got tired. People got tired.
But if I when I heard it, the best they say you didn't kill someone. So there's different than this.
Yeah. Anyway, let me take this call. Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome. Okay.
Samson to LeBlanc Public Radio. Are you there?
The Labour Progressive. Good evening.
Thank you, sir. What's on your mind? The CEO?
Yeah, well, look, I think that this is the beauty of the Liberia Public Radio than any other platform. We discuss sometimes painful issues, unbearable issues, things that people are not comfortable with. But it is important that we have these conversations. I remember 1974-75, the late Tobot he went to Greenville, Sano County, where he and the people clashed. Vampla, Vampla was one of the richest place that in terms of logs and stuff like that. Those from Sano, they would know that because one of the demonstrations. But not to go in depth with that. Look, all of these past governments, even up to this time, the people, and especially from the top and top time, they're the one that get us to be where we are. Tobo, the top men, they used to hang up with Atman Secretary, the late Felix Ofo Guanier of Ivory Coast. Go to Cote d'Ivoire, see, right? See how Cote d'Ivoire looks like. But these were the people that presided over state resources, and it was just only from the document that I had an opportunity to review it, and I was like, who are these people? So they kind of like dumped our country, the people into slavery. Why it is true, even though the other people that came, there were other things went down the road. I mean, like where Gaddafi said, there's nothing guaranteed in revolution. You will always get a good and a bad side of it. But if these people, if they have love for their country, if they accept some good examples, if wealth of the country was proportionate to everybody to the extent that people will, some of these things would not happen. Look at Oprah Bryant. He said he was in office for the long years, even though he said on that. But see how Cote d'Ivoire looks like today. Go to Yamoussoukro, go to Abidjan, go to Bouaké, Daloa, all of those places, right? And those are people that they used to travel, they used to do things together. But all they were doing, all of their investments, their wealth, their riches, they were taken from the country. They are being exported to foreign banks just to build themselves wealth for the life of the loan. And that's what happens when people become so, when you make people to be disadvantaged and you begin to suppress people. Even today, what we are talking today, why you think people are grumbling? Why you think people are complaining? Because the government is doing certain things, and then a good chunk of the citizens they feel very much disenchanted that they are not being served right. So I don't see the trouble, the turbulence. Yes, they did their own part, but I would say all of what that get us to be where we are today, they were very dishonest. They just felt that they were the only people and no any other person going to pay. And that's what happens when you push people against the wall. When the going gets tough and the tough gets going, no longer what they can do, they will have to bounce back. And that's what happened to Liberia. And we need to learn from that. And you're quite correct, because these people that they need to understand. And it is coming in the sense that these people, because of money, they're supposed to do their piece of job. So even if you want to do those sort of writing, there are some family members around there. All right, they will be brave to speak to some of those issues. But this is the same thing. That's what the media does in Liberia. They are on the canopy of these people using financial, using money to dig out, to bring out insurrection, restoration of things that are happening. Again, it's good. That's part of history, past and future. But you want to do it sometime, you will want to find some family member. There's a way that if they want to get the story to be balanced, if they want to get other version, to balance it, that's it. But that's the same thing from pay. And that's why some of us were condemning the other day when they start taking money from politicians. That's what they do. They demonize certain group segment of people to win favor for certain people. But if we in the media industry, if we are not that strong to counter out and speak on those issues for the sake of Liberia and become more personal because of X, Y reason, or because of our ties with these politicians or people that have influence over states, then it will be fine. But I think it was a learning one tonight. It's good to discuss some of these issues so people will know when we are falling asleep, when people are slipping, they're going down the slope, they will say, oh, okay, once upon a time we were able to get an in-depth of a little take of what happens in the Liberian history. So I just thought it was good. I know it's an emotional one, but hey, it is what it is. And sometimes you have to come strong. But I would have done it differently. Probably you have said it, but I think you need to go more beyond that. Under that very column I know there's a place there for comment, and people will do it. Even if they delay it, you have your own website where you can do your own comment and it will go viral as the same way. And it is good now, everybody are involved. It is not those days where only few people should be entitled to certain things and other people should not learn. And this is a challenge to all indigenous and every Liberian. You got to open your eyes. Do not be taken away. Do not be moved by little things because somebody is trying to manipulate that sort of political correctness attitude of our people to satisfy the curiosity of the politicians, to pave their way to state power. And at the end of the day, the victim become the victor, and the victor become the victor. Victim. That time has come and gone. We will continue to discuss those issues. Thank you very much, and I think it was a wonderful discussion.
Thank you, Mr. So. We appreciate it.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we tell people what they need to know. All right, we don't play into the hands of people. Okay, this is what I want to hear. No, that's not who we are, and that's not what LPR are going to be doing. LPR is there to represent the diverse views, and that's why we incorporate opinions or views expressed on the network. At the same time, we made it clear that whatever expressed this on this network, it is not a view and opinions of the management of the Liberia Public Radio, but we do have to facilitate these sort of hardcore discussion. And so if anybody thinks that you get a team scheme, we are not talking about house issue, we are not talking about marriage, people getting divorced, we are talking about a sovereign nation that is 172 years old. and see where we are. So these ills that we have had in the past and we continue to have, we need to discuss those high core issues. If your cholesterol is too high, if the blood pressure is too high, don't come on this platform because you will hear some things that maybe it will elevate it, and we don't want to find ourselves into that situation. So when you come in this network, have an open mind that you're going to get sometimes the unusual, the unexpected that you have not heard on any other network. Those are some sort of hardcore issues we discuss. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. So we ourselves continue to, like I said, we just thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Folks, again, basically what I try to do here tonight is to provide context. I mean, I'm not here to argue with Front Page Africa or call them names. As far as I'm concerned, ever since Front Page Africa came on the scene, they've been wonderful people that provide news. Even when the editor himself was here in the United States, Front Page Africa carried my article of my brother at one time without charge. So Front Page Africa has always been good to all of us, especially those of us that junkie. Samson Tola, bro, Pablo Rido, what's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
Yeah, but so
yes.
This is Christiana. I've been listening to everything you've been saying.
Thank you for joining us.
The problem here is with we, the Liberians, most especially we who call ourselves the native Liberians. We do not like ourselves. That's one of the problems. We do not like ourselves, and because we were not taught the proper history in school about things that happened before Togo came to power, and so it's bringing a lot of tension because I was watching Focus on Africa too, and I watched that documentary that guy was talking about the President Trump. So, I saw that and I was marveled because I was trying to see if I can reach this guy to ask him. I think they made a mistake when they wrote the history because I don't think that the people that went to Liberia called themselves the pioneers. I don't think that they wrote the history because the reason why I'm saying it, if you look at the Liberian history, when they did the 16 tribes, they didn't include the Congo tribe. So I don't know, did they get that part that if you want to count Liberians, then they are not Liberians? Because if they are Liberians, if they wrote the history, they forgot to tell. because they came with, it's like they came for revenge. Like, okay, we were here and we were told, and they didn't understand the history well, that these people came and say, we're taking your kids to the new world to educate your kids, and they brought the people and they treated them bad. And when the people went back, when they decided to go back, the young people didn't go. It was the older people that went. And when they went to Liberia, when they put them down at Bushra Island, they didn't know their way around. They asked the same native people to leave them. But the system, the way the Caucasian was treating them, is the system they carry back to Liberia. And to this day, the real Congo people are not there. It's the same native people that call it the Congo people. So what part of Liberia they belong? Because they have no tribe. They are not in the 16 tribe. Who Ministry of Finance? The Liberian government are paying the break to Ministry of Finance. Who Ministry of Education? Is it not evil of the highest order? Is it not corruption? For all those years before those came to power, what the minister that Liberia had in his own name, and those were the people that were ruling Nigeria. What is road that left from Monrovia to Grand Chile? What is road that left from Monrovia to Sino? Well, there was road to Sino because Sino has sea. There was road to Picana because Picana has sea. The Maryland that Thomas is the president for, the concrete road he did in Maryland was at certain places. It didn't go to the Borough people who own Maryland. It didn't go to the places. It didn't go to the cool people places. It didn't go to the Barclay Bay people places. because they said that was not where they were living. So I don't know who are these people calling the second God people. They need to read this so they need to think before they call the second God people, because they're nowhere in the Liberia trap. They're nowhere in the trap. How can you say you're from this country, you're not part of the people? And the ones that claiming themselves a people, the people that think that the people raise their children. They're very Liberian. That two people, Kala people, Kwan people, Goro people, Gio people, they're the one calling the second God today. Where the Tonga people are? Why we can put together to be one? Why we can put together to be one? Our country is never going to be built if we continue with this behavior. We never come to where we are. Seriously. Look at our neighboring country around us. Look at our neighboring country around us. The only country in West Africa that did not develop, that's Equatorial, that's Shakasiri, that's Tottenham. Because it was about themselves. We, the young generation that are coming up, what can we do better? Why are we fighting among ourselves? Why? You can't go, you could, you tell them, you can't. Is that what we're going to build Liberia? In order to build Liberia, we have to have Liberia and heart. Instead all the Congo, Gio, Manaku, see, we are all Liberians. We are all human beings. Let's respect one another. We can have our differences. We can have our agreements. So we have to respect the land. If we say one represent Liberia, we have to do away with this Congo, Gio, and Manaku thing. Because there is no Congo people in Liberia. There is nothing like Congo. Is that money 16 trap? There's 16 trap that lives there, no Congo there. So that means we don't have Congo people. We are all one brothers and sisters. You know? Sometimes we watching the show. No country boys, they no native boys, they didn't go to school. When they have school, they have school that someone went to, when they have school, what about Liberia that have school sitting now? What about Liberia? We all here, we see the poor and the second people, who the two people children, the give people children, mother. We don't want to do better in America here. We do better in America here. Us visitors are Congo people that used to live in Liberia, went to the doctor to go visit. I couldn't even use the restroom. You don't even get a job in the country, they're maybe on welfare. But is that how we're going to build our country? We have to love one another. And leave all the Congo and food and this and that. When you go back to history, what have these people done? What have these people done? All the years they were in Liberia, I can country 170 something years old and have nothing to show to account for. And instead of us loving Liberia and putting Liberia at heart, we're putting the coup and Congo and Gio and Mana and keeping it from. And the very native people, they're the ones that these people in America here, they're giving them $100, $1,000, and just it's bringing down. We are bringing one another down. That is not right. There's another one who calls and say, I know, and causing people, you Congo, you see other people that made it. That made that you live. You know Congo people? The real Congo people, they're all dead and gone. It's the same Liberians are fighting one another, they call them the Congo. In the Congo, they don't belong in Liberia because the 9 months is 16 tribes. So we need to revisit our history. They need to go and make their history and put Congo in the tribe if they want to call themselves Congo.
Okay, sister, I think you might be one of those that will want to have interest in my next topic, hopefully next week. I will do what they call the trial of Henry Fomulet, who was an ambassador to Kenya, Uganda, I think one other country, Tanzania, at the time when he was charged with sedition and trying to overthrow the Tottenham government. It's a very, very interesting reading. And the reason I'm going to be doing this, not necessarily to bring about issue with the Concord country people business, but for the young among us that perhaps don't have the clear understanding of what happened. So thank you for your comment. We appreciate it, man.
Yeah, you know what? Before I hang up, I remember when I was a little girl, I'm not a baby. But when I was a little girl, I remember when Papa Matthew used to come to my mom's house
And you say you are a
in
girl.
Nukuta. In Nukuta. And he used to be hiding under the bed. When someone was looking for him to tell him, in Nukuta. Papa Matthew used to come to my mom's house in Nukuta and go under the bed when I was a little girl. In Nukuta. Because what? He was a bastard man. And who was only going to kill him? Were the men who fought a second God. So what we can learn, what we can come to our senses, what we can put together as one Nigeria. What is this vision?
Okay. All right, sister. Thank you very much. Hello?
You're welcome, brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
This is my number. If you what you were talking about, this is my number. If you
Okay.
want me to, yeah, because
Okay.
I have some stuff I could share with you, so you can, when you're doing the show, you can add it to the show. We don't want division. We want one Liberia.
Right. Right.
That is my takeaway from this program today. We don't want division. We want one Liberia to build our country. Too many people are struggling in Liberia. Too many people are struggling in Liberia. That should be our vision, to take our country from where it is to move it forward.
All right, sister. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Samson Tola, Brompod Radio. What's your name? Where you're calling from? What's on your mind?
Brother Cole, this is Benson Mason,
All right. Good
and I'm
evening,
calling
sir.
from
Thank you
Dallas
for-
Fort Worth.
Yes.
I followed your show today, and it was interesting. A historical aspects was very educating. But there's some things that the only thing I like to go back and talk about has to do with the vision of Tolbert. And I like the part you read. And you kept reading that one part. But with that part, if you look at it and you read it, and you come to our contemporary times, you will agree that was Tolbert's vision, and that vision that Tolbert had in the 70s is a vision that we are still running behind today. The vision of letting the majority, the unfortunate majority, to benefit from the wealth of the country. He has been running. Tolbert made that declaration some almost 43 years ago. And we are still chasing that today. Because why? Everybody that succeeded Tolbert did not try to bring that into play. When Tolbert made that announcement, right after that, Tolbert started to build schools in the interior. We talk about education for the people. Any revolution that is not grounded on education of the masses or the people is prone to be for chaos. And I go back and I can say this in any time. There was no problem with those that took over the government, the coup. When the president, when Samuel Kanyadu then staged the coup, he staged the coup on the background of the education and the information that was disseminated to them.
Mm-hmm.
And given that other people's lives were being threatened, and those people came to bring our democracy into our country, the democracy that we enjoy today. And like you said, the days of the 70s, where there was a one-party rule, it's never going to be repeated in Liberia, nor in the history of Liberia. No, because the people have learned that democracy means to have multiple views, to have opposition. But that was not taught to the people in the onset. In the onset, what opposition was never explained to our people. So our people did not understand how to be opposed, and the people who were in power then
like you want to bring a family case up, you want to look into that case, you can bring a lot of cases. Most of the cases that will be brought up to discuss people or tolerant to opposition, you'll find out that it was in the 60s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, and how opposition was being killed because the leaders of the time could not stand to those people. I'm seeing people say that Togo had a vision, and we cannot, whether we will always find a problem, no matter how it is. We will always see the shortfalls because we are looking back. But his vision was to take Liberia and elevate it to a different standard. Togo spoke about the Green Revolution. The Green Revolution. That Green Revolution was Togo's project, his idea. Togo spoke about natural matters. Togo spoke about education. Togo had a creed for the people. Yet and still,
let me do you a favor. Just give me a moment here. Let me read from Togo himself. We as a nation and people should strive to be self-reliant. It is absolutely imperative that we encourage conscious awareness of what we are, where we are, and what we stand for as Liberians. If we fail in this realization, if we fail to move forward now, we shall be irrevocably plunged back into the redemptive. So Togo was on it, and one of the things, like you say here, he's quite on it. My only thing that I have with Front Page Africa article is that I agree that he's a visionary. I'm not questioning it at all. But my point is, you cannot try to praise Togo at the detriment of the other folks that perhaps are brought about what they believe to be a revolution that was going to help Liberians on many fronts. And that's the point.
Okay. Yeah, but you see, then you got to kind of give people like the Front Page article. It's not looking at the situation as of the environment that caused the coup. They are looking at the situation. They are evaluating the environment as the cause of the coup. So the reaction after the coup, what happened after the coup, they are using that to evaluate the environment, and that's not fair. I don't agree with them. Now, when I say the environment of the coup, yeah, you have people whose lives were threatened, they were in prison. These were revolutionaries who were in prison, who have started to open the eyes of the Liberian people to what it means to have a multi-party democratic system, or what it means to have a representative form of a democratic. They started to open the eyes of the people, and their lives were threatened. They were in jail. As to whether they were going to be killed or not, the rumor was circulating that they were going to be killed. To liberate those people, the coup took place.
No, but that was written in the War College, from the War College document that I was reading about.
My brother, the War College document that you read from, that document is always, you got to always look at it as coming from people, even though it's an outsider. It's an outsider who takes the information from the people who he interviewed. Okay, and it depends on who he met to interview.
That particular document was also brought to earth immediately after the coup. But anyway, that's fine. Let's go ahead and make your point, my brother. That's fine.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. I'm not baffling you. I'm just saying that it came for somebody. And my thing is, the environment that led to the coup should not be defined by the things that happened after the coup. Because if you do it that way, then you will come back to say that that's why people come and say the coup was not necessary. It depends on what you're looking for as necessity. Then you look at what you're looking at as necessity. necessity, if you look at the results and you look at it, then you will always confuse yourself. Because the environment that we take, that is the environment that runs afterwards. So after the coup, yeah, okay, this is why the coup took place. This is the primary reason. And I agree with you. Okay? But the people looking at it in Valley, and that just something was doing injustice to those people who did the coup. Even though at the end of the day, when we go back to look at them and we ask them, say, if your reason was just to liberate the brothers, and then that's fine. But if your reason was to change the system and make the system totally inclusive, then your aftermath, your character or your execution did not coincide with it.
Right.
So it depends on how you weigh it. And that's why I'm saying you did justice to the thing and you were right. The front page need to go back and make the proper adjustment to make the system. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, my brother.
I'm not there to work on bro.
No, that's okay.
Thank you, bro.
Okay. But thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and take a leave from you here tonight. I want to thank all of you. I will do this next Friday. I will try my best to do, next Friday. I will try my best to start the trial of family. I saw a few people here that was writing earlier. and let me go back to and let me see if the name. I'm not too sure if this person is related to the name that I'm going to be calling here. I'm not too sure if they're still with us. They're most likely left already. Marva Ducle. And let's see here. Is this a scene? Samson told LeBron Pub Radio, what's your name, where you're calling from, what's on your mind? You're going to be my last caller, please. Go ahead.
Mr. Paul,
Yes.
I'm Nathan. I'm calling from Australia.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for joining us all the way from Australia. Thank you very much, sir. Go ahead and make your point. What's on your mind, sir?
Well, I appreciate your program, but I guess some qualms, that you didn't clarify. Actually, I'll try to listen to you, and then sleep got me is in the morning here. But my phone here.
So then, how do you want me to clarify something when you fell asleep, my brother?
Yeah.
Good. Anything you want me to clarify, I will do so.
Yeah. You didn't clarify about what's going on today. It is true. The True Party have her fault. They didn't bring everybody on board from the beginning, from 1847. And then Tubman King, I think he brought some of our people in and let Toba. I think Toba was the best man for that country. But I think our people misled, I will be objective, understand? I'm a boxer man. The Barker Matthew, the Oscar Kuya, all these guys, the bully, I think because the man promised at the appropriate time, I will step down. And which he never elaborate on that briefly, I think because just imagine Toro could not sell Liberia to Zimbabwe. When he sent his foreign minister, Sister Denham, after 1980, right? That conference, I remember.
Let me just read that part what you're talking about. Tobo was going to retire at the end of his term in 1983. Listen to this now.
Yeah.
In preparation for retirement, according to the article, he started construction of his new home in Benta, a suburb of Monrovia. He made several trips to Europe, placing money in the Swiss bank. People began to talk about excess expenditure, and some asked where Toba was getting all his money. His son, A.B. Toba, added to the gossip by spending wild sum of money and throwing wild parties. So go ahead.
Yeah. I thank God you brought AB Tower business. It was necessary to keep people like AB Tower. Tower have been the victim. They are already been executed. You understand? But do you think what was the reason of killing the 13 ministers? Because the charges were rampant corruption. They were charged with rampant. But don't you sincerely speaking, they get a guy to you guys, they call him Shaka Sale. He owns VOA. When he asking you questions, I don't monitor you like before he and Jim got it together there. He says, sincerely, my question to you now, sincerely speaking, brothers, something to from the bottom of your heart. You don't think that corruption was born 1980? Because these people, they killed them. But the same thing they killed them for is the same thing the PRC people did. Look at people like Faravani. And they call him Faravani. He went started beating people. They started accumulating wealth. And you understand?
Faravani died about 2 or 3 months into the coup, so he couldn't have accumulated any wealth.
Yeah, but listen, now we're alone. You understand? He started manhandling people. He went at the LU and the people had a program there, and then he forcibly, he don't want to go through the bureaucracy, right? He said, you know who I am? And they see who I am business make richer and them was victim. And I ask you a question, I don't want you to deviate from the bottom of your heart. Some of them were killed because of corruption. This guy, you don't think 1980 was the time corruption born? Send those people been executed. The corruption have increased more than ever before. You don't know that? From the Dole government?
Okay.
From the Dole government? Go ahead.
Let me read something to you from the same area when Tobo was speaking.
No, don't read. I ask you a simple question. You are a journalist. You are a good man. I respect you. I always listen to your program. I want you to establish.
I wanted to give you some background of my answer, but anyhow, that's okay. No, corruption.
Just go to the point.
Okay,
go to the point.
Corruption did not start during PRC term. Corruption has been No, corruption has been with us from the time, especially during the days of the two-way party. The corruption that was happening at the time, corruption is not necessarily taking people money or taking something that doesn't belong to you. Corruption is also the process where you, instead of applying what is supposed to be something for something, you take it and apply it to something else. For example, our people collect taxes and for the Republic of Liberia, hoping that the taxes that are coming from the villages will then be used to actually improve the school system, to improve the lives of the villagers themselves. That wasn't happening. The money was used primarily for themselves in Monrovia. Monrovia was well laid out. Monrovia have water, drinking water all over the city. Monrovia have lights all over the city. But the money to pay for those amenities were coming from the countryside. So that's corruption.
Okay, you said corruption, but can I give you one reference? If corruption was not born 1980, corruption was not born 1980. Why do under the two debauching officers of the finance ministry flop publicly on the education ministry on the life pool there? Can you clarify, please?
That's true. They must, but yes, other thing. These people that you just named, I don't believe they were even tried. And I don't believe that they were found guilty by the court system that recognized. So once again, I want to read something to you. The collection process in Liberia, okay, from the finance ministry report that Tobo was reading. The collection process in Liberia in 1971-72. There were people that were collecting revenue from the countryside. and they were giving people flat, flat receipt has been with us for a very long time. You pay your money, they give you flat receipt. So those people that were being issued flat receipt, the flat receipt that was being issued were more than the money that were coming in to the revenue. So corruption
let me come in.
For a long time.
Yeah, let me come in. Then if you are trying to deviate from my question and not going to the point, why is it Time Magazine exhibited on their front page the Shah of Iran, Mobutu Sese Seko of Zaire. The Shah of Iran, they exhibit their pictorial that he was the richest man in the world. Mobutu Sese Seko was the richest man with 7 billion. It is 100% Levin Swiss Bank, and Humphrey Boy and they were the top richest man in West Africa. Why you think Time Magazine did that?
Well, I'm not going to dispute with you on those claims. Okay, I'm not here to defend Doe and the PRC government for action of corruption. That's not the intent of this show tonight. The intent is to provide some context to the...
So are you saying, excuse me, sir, brother, are you saying the killing of those people, especially for me, my concern, those innocent 13 ministers, they were not innocent. Okay, they played their part. But my point here is the president has been apprehended. Anything, any good thing or any bad thing, one person, somebody must be victim. Someone will kill, we all know. But then to put the people on the pole, to kill them, you understand? And look, let me tell you an example. You see, John Rowland, he 3 presidents, former president. But today, the Ghanaians are free, and 9 judges. So, corruption is minimal in Ghana. This is why development going on there. And you understand? But in Liberia, the Ellen government or the other government or anybody made a minister for domestic trade, anywhere you put them superintendent, they are president there, the stealing. Why you think the way forward for this thing then? Because our people are dying, walking, and they see corruption business, and people die. 200 and some more people. Taylor 2 kings, so he came to eradicate corruption. See how many people die. Okay, there's Ellen came there. She never do anything. Now this man walking is my people, George, our people will never be spectator in their own. We said it at the call it the big stadium there. And today the people that even in the stadium to watch the government, they are outside the stadium. Why you think the way forward in this here? For me, if I had a way, my way forward. Wait a minute, let me end.
Other people are calling as well. Let me just get your way.
Yeah, let me end.
Okay.
My way, listen. I think if I had my way, let America since we are close to America, because we helped them during the war. Even when Franklin D. Roosevelt visited 1935, President Edwin Bagley, we had their base there. I think I would recommend that now they send 1-star general that it will roll from Monrovia to Fort Lee to Grand Judea to Cape Palmer. That would be that road. We want road from Cape Boone to Cape Palmer or Monrovia. Let it build any ministry, anything. Let them build it. You understand? Okay. But you see, any government, any extra money, Swedish money. I don't want to do those. I will give you a list.
Thank you, but I don't have evidence of those things. I can't speak to those. But thank you very much for your view. You join us another time. But thank you very much, my brother.
Yeah, you say you want to sleep now, so you just cut me off. It's okay, all right. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate you. Actually, you very objective, but I just wanted to correct some point. Thank you.
That's fine. That's fine. Being objective does not mean my objectiveness will satisfy you at all times. There will be some times that you will disagree with me, and that's what we do here. But thank you very much for your view.
Yeah, brother. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Samson told LeBron Pop Radio, what's your name, where you're calling from? And I think you should be the last caller now. Go ahead. What's your name, where you're calling from, and what's on your mind?
Thank you, Mr. Tom. My name is Prince from Massachusetts, the United States.
Thank you.
I appreciate you a lot for the knowledge you try to pass on to people that will understand. But I listened to the last quarter. He tried to bring argument like as if that people don't know these things, right? You said something that really makes sense, and then that's the truth. Corruption, like he's saying corruption, like during 1980. No, the word corruption is not just restricted to taking money. Putting a package like people accusing government officials of being corrupt. No, corruption is depriving people from what they're supposed to have as a nation. Okay, like development that will bring power to a group of people, a group of citizens, which is like a nation like Liberia. But those people from the day Liberia was given birth to a country called Liberia, these are things that the people did that deprive Liberia and us as Liberians. Okay, today we boast of other poor country, we say this thing about other poor country. Now, people that led us, okay, people that were our leaders, they corrupted us. Right? They corrupted a nation called Liberia. So when somebody come on your platform, you try to educate people. They will say, corruption started because they targeting individual, they targeting specific person. No. If you say corruption, is this the root cause of corruption being in this government? It started way back. Okay? Look at Mr. Two. Let's be frank. These people had the nation, just the money, the wealth of this country was just circulating among themselves. They built a mansion, they built it at the end of the day, they turn around again, they rented to the same government. Okay, up to now. How can we live like that? So our problem is not just this government. It's not just 1980. It's not just Summer Kingdom and government. Our problem has been where we started from as Liberia. Okay? So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I hope when I'm ready to do the trial of Henry Formula Sr., I hope some of you will seriously join me at that time. So that
it'll be what time? Just next Friday?
I'm going to try to start next Friday.
Okay, thank you.
But I'm not going to be able to do the entire trial one day, though. So I will go from section to section. And I will expect all of us to take notes of these things as I go through them, because they're very interesting. In fact, your
program is very educational. The one thing I've been listening to you, these things we learn from some of us were not born at that time. Exactly. But according to history, according to some of the things you're telling us, we read about it and we sit down and analyze these things. You think about it. Because our problem has been from day one, like your program from day one. The people cheat us, the people corrupted us. Okay? The people corrupted us. Yeah? So thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you very much. Folks, Samson told LeBron Public Radio, I'm going to go ahead and take a leave of you now and say thank you very much. We've been out on this thing here for quite a while now. But of course, none of us going out anyways. Samson told LeBron Public Radio. One of the things that I enjoy and be able to, the fact that I have Mr. Francis Johnson, who is a CEO of this entity, have always explained that these things, they are very sensitive, but you must learn how to separate your emotion out of these, because when you come out here, you have a camera facing you with a mic in your hand or on your chest, whatever position your mic is, and when you're talking, there will be people that will not agree with you, and I respect that, and I accept it, and I also respect the way you guys always coming on the platform, and there will be few that will be writing here, insulting and things like that. That's okay, and you can stay behind your computer and do insult. That's fine. It really doesn't matter. But those of us that have these platforms and things like that, even if these issues are very close to home, we will try to control our emotion and not to be disruptive, not to be insulting, not to be degrading to people who we disagree with. We will disagree with you, but with respect. We will always respect you as a human being. Because the fact that even the article that I'm talking about, the writer of the article, the fact that he took upon himself to write, he has exposed himself, inner self. So I can't sit here and say, why you put this kind of thing? Well, no, it's left with me. If I want to talk about it, I must be able to provide some other context, some other explanation, some other information, okay, that perhaps you will be able to utilize whatever information that I'm giving you, plus what he has written. Now, there's some stuff here I don't agree with it, but that doesn't make it lies. That's not my point. That's not my point. I'm saying the article that he has written, there are some missing point, missing aspect of his writing, for which the fact that I have that knowledge, I decide to provide that. Okay, but I'm not disagreeing, and I'm not trying to degrade, because Front Page Africa, let me say this again. For me, I've always considered Front Page Africa double-edged sword. One minute, they write something, you take, oh yeah, I like it because it's in your favor. Another minute, they flip on you. And that's what a journalist is supposed to do. Write what you see, truth. Whether it's against your own father, but as long as the truth, you believe it, you write about it. And let the audience and the reader decide. And from that, I think Front Page has continued to do a wonderful, wonderful job. And I commend them for it. But those of us that have information, sometimes when they come up and we have the opportunity to disagree, we will do so with respect. You can't come here and call Front Page Africa a yellow journalism. What from what perspective? Why are you saying these? Because they write something, you don't agree with them? Why are you going to call them names? So that's not what we do here on Liberian Public Radio. And those of you that continue to follow us and join us, we really appreciate it. Even if it's one person watching, we really appreciate you guys. Okay? Friday, I will do a reading on formula. Let me just tell you something again. And there was a person that was writing here earlier in the show. Let me see. The name, and I'm not too sure if this person is related, is Marvi, Marva Ducle. But let me go into this formula trial here, and let's see if we'll find Mamadou Ducle in here. Okay, and it's a very interesting reading. Okay, let's see what reference they make to Mamadou Ducle, who was then former Secretary, Foreign Secretary Honor Totman. Okay, and he was asked as well to testify. I know I had that position. I had that opening earlier. Okay. But he was testifying. Folks, when I start going into this thing, the names that are going to come out, the names that you will find that is stuck against formula. It's unbelievable the way our brothers were behaving those days. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The Campbell, Sampson, Pierce, Jenkins. I mean, the names you will find against formula, okay? And it just happened that formula. One of the things I like about the VI people business, when they say they're going to educate themselves, they educate themselves real well. And formula was highly educated. In fact, because of his education, Topman decided to bring him on to the Foreign Service. He started in Abidjan and they moved him up. But when they decided that perhaps he was getting too much for himself, they went again out on him. What they didn't realize, that at that time, Liberia was closed, that's fine, but the international community was watching. Because what the Totman government and his henchmen was doing, they decided to charge him based on what they say crime was committed in East Africa, in Kenya. At that time, the East African nation were fighting revolutionary war to gain independence from other countries. So the issue was bigger. The issue was bigger. Soviet Union was involved. America was involved. So you can't just grab formula and go kill. No, they're gonna have to try it. And it was very interesting, folks. If you can go on Google and just type trial of Henry formula, it will come up. And I hope you join me on Friday because I hope we'll have fun with it. We'll have fun with it. Okay, it's these things are good. I'm not bringing them up necessarily to stir up something. What power do I have to stir anything anyway? So, but I want people to understand what happened. Oh, yes, Denis. A former Secretary of State, Mr. Mamadou Duclé, followed Maxwell on the stand. Mr. Duclé had known nothing about the defendant or the underground movement with which he was supposedly connected, he explained. However, that Mr. Duclé, this is another Duclé name that was writing here earlier, have received an anonymous telephone call from someone who asked him that Duclé was going to obtain family release from prison. Samson told our brother, folks, it's been a wonderful, wonderful time. I will be here Friday for the trial of family. And I hope you guys will join me. And I'm gonna do this trial in segment. Okay, I will by Wednesday. I will tell you how many segments, where we're going to go from what page to what page, if you're going to be following me. Now, remember, I'm from Town. I can't read, okay? And some of the big words in here, they might be giving me a hard time. So, look at this other one. Mr. W. Brown, chairman of Moserado County Two-Way Party, presenting President Tubman with a statement of loyalty. What? Loyalty. On behalf of the entire county. On behalf of the entire county of Moserado County. On behalf of the county is pledging. The entire county is pledging their loyalty to an individual. And those are the days you want us to go back to. Only sedition can pledge their loyalty to Dr. Weir. Ain't Samson Toe. Samson Toe pledged his loyalty to Liberty Party. And Mr. George Lobo most likely going to pledge his loyalty to Unity Party. So you see where I'm going with this? No longer will we have an individual person that we're all going to gravitate towards and pledge our loyalty to. Ain't happening. It's done. So join me and let's have fun. Samson told LeBron Pabrito. Good night, folks.
Le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon
Le salaud depuis Iowa. On est décédé. Mon Dieu,
Onana ayama lokol mane sigul mwa yepo zane klipu ya mone u